Am I the one? Is it I? Is it me? Right? It's important for you to do that too, all your days. Lord, don't let me do that because I know I'm capable in and of myself. Keep me from doing that. That's a good prayer. That's a good prayer. Is it a quick one? Because I want to try to keep. Okay. I like the question. Yes and no. Some of them, not all of them. Okay. Remember, some of them committed blasphemy of the Holy Ghost, which means that they sinned with their eyes open, fully knowing who he was, and they did it anyway. So they crossed the line of demarcation, the point of no return. Right? We talked about that before. But some of them did not. Right? So no, not all of them. Not all of them did. But some did. But I think part of the reason is they saw the miracles and all the different things that he was doing, so they figured they want to get as many men as they can. But I think also to make him look like a common criminal as well, like he was FBI's most wanted, like the biggest fugitive in the world. That would be for ignominy and disrepute and shame and mockery and all those kind of things. So there's a lot of things going on there. Good question. Okay, so let me help you fill these lines in. The traitor, one of the 12, equals ... You want to write Judas Iscariot. That's who that is. And then on the next two lines, did you guys get the first two lines? Okay, on the next two lines, you're going to write the dragon. Because we had we're going to have to go back to Revelation, but we're going to go to chapter 12. And we're going to look at Revelation 16. Because I said two beasts and a traitor, right? We already identified who the two beasts are. And the traitor is who? But actually, hold on. Before you go back there, let's look at Luke 22 first. All right, so we got Judas Iscariot. But we need to see why we're saying dragon here. Because Judas Iscariot was indwelt by the dragon. The dragon is in Revelation 12 and Revelation 13, right? That dragon that we see in Revelation was dwelling in Judas's heart. Okay? You guys in Luke 22, look at the first verse. It's the same account, just a little bit before. Now the feast of unleavened bread drew near, which is called the Passover. And the chief priests and scribes sought how they might kill him, for they feared the people. Verse 3, it says, then entered who? Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12. Satan here is the dragon. Is that true? Okay, so this does match up, doesn't it? Right, so you do see the two beasts and the dragon. That's your unholy trinity. There's the devil trying to mock the Lord again. Okay, now go to Revelation 12. I do have it on there. Okay, Revelation 12. All of this was known by God before the foundation of the world, and it was already written in the Old Testament. You can read Psalms 2 in your own time. Obviously, none of this takes the Lord by surprise. If you're in Revelation 12, in fact, nothing ever takes God by surprise. If anything ever takes God by surprise, he's not God. Hold on, let me do this real quick. You know where we're going though, right? Okay, just hang out for a second. You guys in chapter 12? Look at Revelation 12, verse 1. There appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun. See the woman there? That woman is not Mother God. Somebody going to use that Bible verse, okay, to make you fall away from the faith. The woman there ain't no such thing as Mother God. Okay, God is a father, never speaks of himself as a mother, though he demonstrates paternal and maternal attributes in the scriptures. But he's always referred to as a he, he's always referred to as a father. The woman here is the church. You want to write that down. The woman here is us, the bride of Christ. The bride of Christ, not the mother of Christ. Now, the biological mother of Jesus, which is Mary, she's a part of it too. She was the physical conduit through which Jesus came into the world, but she's our sister, and she's a believer just like the rest of us. Okay? She's not to be prayed to, worshiped, or exalted, or deified. Okay? So there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun. Okay? We're dressed in the glory and righteousness of Jesus. That's what that points to. And the moon under her feet. We've overcome the world, right? And we are no longer under the condemnation of the law. Many of the old covenant ceremonies and observances were dictated by the moon cycle. So as you go through the scriptures, the moon is also one of the things it symbolizes. One of the things is the law, right? And we're no longer under the law. We're under God's grace. Okay, and then it says here, and upon her head a crown, which makes her royalty. We rule and reign with Jesus, right? What kind of crown is this? A Stephanos crown. A Stephanos crown is the kind of award that was given to the victor in the Greek games and Olympic games. When you won your event, they gave you a Stephanos crown. So it symbolizes the church's victory in overcoming and triumphing by continuing to trust Christ. And by faith in Jesus, we overcome the world, right? Okay. And upon her head a crown of 12 stars. The 12 stars there symbolize the 12 apostles. The 12 stars there point to the 12 apostles. Okay? We know the stars in Revelation chapter 1 represented the pastors of the 7 churches of Asia Minor. And stars represent believers being the elect of God, children of Abraham. Abraham, can you count the stars? So shall your seed be. And there's 12 because it represents the 12 apostles, which represents the apostles' doctrine, which represents the gospel. We rule and reign by the what? The gospel. What is the apostles' doctrine? The gospel. The gospel, okay? And we're only seated in heavenly places because we believe the gospel, right? All right. Here it is, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, right? We know who that is. That's Satan, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. So those are diadems that he's wearing, right? Now that dragon in verse 3, if you go down to verse 9, it identifies who it is. And the great dragon was cast out. That event in verse 9 is talking about the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Satan was not cast out of heaven until Jesus said it's finished. Okay? Satan was not kicked out of heaven until Jesus went to the cross. That's when Satan was finally removed from heaven. If there's questions about it in the Q&A, we can talk about it. It says the great dragon was cast out. That old serpent called the what? And what? And wasn't that the same person that was indwelling Judas? So I think we can see the ones that came to get Jesus that night was Beast 1, Beast 2, and the what? The dragon via Judas. Does that make sense? All right, so hopefully you guys can see that. Now if you had a question. No, the dragon here is another name for the devil. Right. He has a lot of names. He's got like 3 or 4 names in that one verse. Right. He's grown. See, in the beginning in Genesis, he was just a snake. Now you get to Revelation, he's a dragon because he's been devouring the souls of millions and millions and millions of people. Okay? Okay, go back to our text because he goes about as a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. Okay, go back to our text. These things should not scare us, but they should sober us up. You need balance when it comes to talking about the devil and evil spirits and stuff like that. There's two ways you and I can get in trouble. One is we go to one extreme and we act like there is no kingdom of darkness, there is no devil, there is no evil spirits. That's foolishness to say, oh, that doesn't exist. Okay? It makes it that much easier for the devil to deceive you if you think he doesn't exist. But you also want to be careful not to go to the other extreme where you're so fixated on him. All you do is focus on him and talk about him, and you're constantly 24 hours a day trying to tell everybody what he's doing. But you can't tell people what Jesus is doing, but you can tell them what Satan is doing. Right? Now, that's another extreme where that's actually a form of idolatry where you're over-fixated on him, where we're supposed to be fixated on Christ. So we need balance. Okay? We don't want to be ignorant of his devices, but we don't want to give him our focus. Our focus needs to be on the Lord. Is it a quick question? Okay. Go back, while she's asking the question, go back to Mark 14 so we can keep it moving. I'm listening, sis. Go ahead. He did take the serpent's bite, but Christ can handle it. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yes. Yes. Yes and no. Yes, because of the consumption principle, but God delighting in his children and symbolized by tasting is not a devouring taste. Satan don't want to just taste us. He wants to devour us. No, I understand what you're saying, but listen to what I'm saying. The Bible describes believers in some instances as being like in God's mouth, right? That's Revelation 3. Revelation 3, right? You are like lukewarm water in my mouth. I'd rather you be hot or cold. I'm going to spew you out of my mouth, okay? And so that symbolizes God taking delight in his church. We're to bear fruit because God likes to take delight in our fruit. Like a person taking fruit off a tree and eating it, putting it in their mouth to take delight out of it, right? Our faith, please, is faith a fruit? God loves the taste of our faith, okay? But he's not eating us to devour us. That's the difference. Satan is not trying to get a taste. He's trying to devour us and destroy us. But there is, on some level, I can see a parallel there. He's trying to mimic. He's trying to mimic that with us, trying to have us in his mouth. Right. Yes. No, that's opposite. Christ is talking about us eating him, but Satan's trying to eat us. Okay, so you're saying is there the contrast? Yeah, there's an opposite there too.